Okay, it's running? Okay. Thank you. Okay. Okay, right on. Psychic Frank's Mystery School. Namaste. Hey, I got the mountains behind me here. Yeah, we're going. Yeah, we're good.
It's blue, right?
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah, because, yeah, I know technical, experience. Let's take this off. I feel a lot cooler. Yeah, so welcome to Psychic Frank's Mystery School. That feels good. Yeah, I've been doing shows for the last 5 years since the epidemic shut down at my apartment with Gabby Hayes, my beloved parrot, and then she was screaming her head off, and that was telling the angels were making her scream her head off, so I could get the message that it's time to start doing shows back in the studio. So here I am on 9th Street. Okay, so this is my YouTube channel, and there, if you want to email me, is my email address, Psychic Frank's Mystery School, no, psychicfrank11@gmail.com. And what you want to do, and I don't know how we're going to get this uploaded to YouTube, so what you want to do is go to SF Comments on demand. My time slot is Saturday night, 7:30 p.m., channel 29. It's on demand. So if you go to SF Commons via BAVC, BAVC, Bay Area Video Coalition, and then turn on the schedule, at BAVC schedule, and then go to Saturday, 7:30 p.m., Psychic Frank's Mystery School, and you'll see this. So that's the way you could see it. And hopefully we're going to figure out, hopefully we'll get the phones working again. Yeah, because we've got a new mayor. The London Breed, the Ed Lee London Breed curse is over. I'm not going to say any more. But it's been a hell of a 20 years with those two. Yeah, I'm not even going to say anything more. You know, they're gone. They're gone. One's dead and one's gone. Let them rest in peace, just far away from here. Woo! Shake all that out. And I hear Daniel. I voted for Daniel Laurie. I know you should keep it to yourself, but I'm proud I voted for him. And I understand Jamon told me he was actually sitting in this chair, so he knows about SF Commons and BAVC here. So hopefully we'll get some fundings, because I think the man understands in the media the way it is today. We need SF Commons. It is democracy for the people TV. So and then we get a lot of people to get shows and really get the phones working again. So Mayor Laurie, God bless you. I wish you all the luck. And let's I know they're thinking of getting rid of the cable cars. Yeah, this is they left this 2 terms of London Breed, 2.5 terms there. They left this city in shambles, but I believe Daniel Laurie's going to save the day with the help of everybody. Okay, so what we're going to do is, because it's a long story, but they're going to give me two hours, not straight. There's going to be a 5-minute break in the middle. So we're going to start off. I'm a psychic healer. I introduced myself. I use a new combination of astrology, numerology, and the tarot. And I do what I do is, like most good psychics, I guess anybody who's a psychic who's doing psychic readings, or you're dealing with non-locality, non-local. And I've been nonchalantly throwing that word around for the last, 10 years, when I had a live show up and they were on Potrero Hill. But it's a term, I think, Larry Dossey, it's been around since Einstein, local, psychic, what is it called? Quantum mechanics is all local. It's all locality. Okay, I've got Donald Trump's chart, I got Elon Musk's chart, Musk. Yeah, we got his chart. And then we got some Carl Jung I want to talk about. And let's see. Okay, so today I'm taping this. It's the 15th of November, 2024. It's a Friday. As I said, I'm Psychic Frank. And if you want to send me a message, let me have your birthday and the time of your birth. And I could tell you your rising sign. Just send it to psychicfrank11@gmail.com. I'll be doing that a few times during the show. Well, this looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Yeah. Let's get out of there. Yeah, I wanted my mountains. I love this. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Woo. This is a thrill. I gotta tell you, it's a thrill. Okay, so we had the full moon yesterday. The full moon yesterday was happening at. Let me have my ephemeris. It's in my bag here. Bear with me, please. Yeah, so the full moon yesterday, Friday, it was Thursday the 14th. Here we go. November 24. Yeah, the 15th. Yeah, 23 degrees, Scorpio sun, Scorpio moon. So the sun is 24 degrees now. But what's going on is Mars entered Leo on the 4th of this month, 4th of November, 2024, and will stay there until May, the end of May 2020. I'll give you the exact date there, 2025. March, April, May 2025. Mars will be, the end of May, Mars will be 27. So it'll be 2025, June. It'll be the 17th of June, 2025, when Mars leaves Leo. It's going to be a break in there. Mars goes retrograde December 5th or 6th there, 6 degrees Leo. And then it backs up to Cancer from the middle of 12th of January 2025 until it goes direct around the 24th of February 25, and then in June it'll leave. June it'll leave Leo. So with Mars spending usually Mars takes it energizes wherever it goes, and in your chart, look at where Leo is on your birth chart, or if you are a Leo or have any planets in Leo. And then what you want to do is learn how to work with that Leo energy. It's all about the heart. It's all about the heart chakra. And what's going on is, it says, one second here, I made some notes. Because the planet, Mars, the planet. I listened to Pam Gregory, Kathy Rose, Molly McCord. I mean, there's a whole lot of great astrologers. I don't know, because I have a moon in Taurus in the 12th house, I gravitate to women astrologers. Planet Mars, planet of motivation and action, will enter Leo on the 4th of November and stay there until January 6th, as I said, when it goes retrograde to Cancer. Mars begins on December 6th. While still in Leo, we get 3 hits from Mars in Leo in opposition to Pluto in Aquarius. Because on the actually, I believe it's today. Today Saturn went direct early this morning, 3:20 this morning. Saturn went direct, I believe 6 degrees. 1 second. November. Here we go. Yeah, so Saturn went direct early this morning, 12 degrees. 12 degrees direct. So Saturn is all about spirituality, the structure of our lives. And for the United States of America, all this Mars energy, and then the whole next 21 years, Pluto will actually enter on the 19th of this month. Yeah, on the 19th of this month, Mars, one second, it's November 19th. That's Tuesday. So this coming Tuesday, Pluto will enter Aquarius. We had a few months of Pluto in Aquarius last year. Several times last year, Pluto went from 29 Capricorn. And now we get Pluto going from 29 Capricorn. 29 is the anorexic number. It means something toxic from the bottom of the swamps punches to the top to get released. And Neptune will be 27, Pluto 29, and there's something else. And then Mars is not, but it's still Mars conjuncting that within a 10-degree orb of 29. So, but yeah, so there's definitely. I'll just see when I tune in and doing the cards, I go into my non-local space. So that's the thing with Mars. Mars, we all have it in our chart somewhere. Mars, I don't know, in a chart, in a woman's chart, if she has Mars in Leo, she wants to enter the room with a good-looking guy on her arm, or she wants to be the best dressed. They just want to stand out. They're just, it's not like me, but, they're just bigger than life. Everything is bigger than life with them, they can be a little bit of a drama queen, But if you use Mars correctly, well, how do you use Mars incorrectly? Just look at the world. Look at Russia. Look at all the wars going on. Look at America. Yeah. That's how you use Mars indirectly. Wrong, indirectly. So we won't be done with this important cycle with Mars until the early part of May, when Mars is in Leo for November, December. Be aware that dramatic and sometimes explosive actions are very likely. Mars carries strong pride during this time transit. Insults or disrespect can trigger. Everything could be like a mortal wound, Open your heart to the magnificent Leo love. Leos like to roar, but they'd much rather purr. So what you want to do is, take some breaths, walking meditation, bring some flowers into your life. Mid-November brings an exciting energy with the full moon. And that's what we just had yesterday. The full moon in Taurus conjunct Uranus, which promises to shake things up. Well, here in the United States, Donald Trump has got this clown car of unfit people. They pull up into the middle circle of the three-wind circle, and these dregs of society just keep on pouring out, and it's there's no words. It takes my breath away. It's just and they probably will all get confirmed. But as I said, what we got to do is more than ever. Initiate confidence that you can respond in the moment successfully. Be here now. See, a lot of people aren't in the present. They're in the past, and their ideas of what the past was. We tend to cherry coat the, pink cloud the past. I don't know how to put it. When we think about it, it was. That was not the good old days. There was no such thing as the good old days. Yeah, people were alive, but. And now is the good old days, I tell you. With Uranus center stage, and still right now, we must surrender to the moment and be present. Be here now. We open ourselves to the full and clear signals of the universe that help guide us. Relax. Mercury enters Sag soon, and will stay there until January 9th. That's, again, the planet of information. I'll give you that date. Mercury goes retrograde the 26th. I believe the 25th, 26th of November, 22 degrees Sagittarius. And then on January 9th, it goes direct, it goes back into Capricorn. Let me see. Mercury Oh, yeah, December 15th, it goes direct 6 degrees Sag. Yeah. And then in January, it enters Capricorn. So, well, Mars is in Sag, Mercury's in Sag. Where Sag is the archer, the horse and the archer. When life is pulling you back, it's going to catapult you forward. So I'm saying, yeah, let Donald Trump, act out now. He's just showing people this is what this is what I'm all about. But I give 6 months. I give 6 months. By the time the third opposition from Mars to Pluto is over, I believe so will Donald Trump. So let's talk about, okay, so what I want to do with the second hour is get into how we're going to deal with, well, let's do that now. In the second hour, we could talk about non-locality, because modern medicine, NASA, they're all dealing with local, and what I'm dealing with is non-locality. Well, I wrote something down here about non-locality. One second. Not local. Human consciousness is fundamentally non-local. Many scholars predicted that brain research could prove conclusively that consciousness is a product of the physical brain. It is ironic, however, that as we learn more about the brain, we discover that local brain cannot account for the non-local ways in which consciousness manifests, not localized or confined to a specific point of space, such as bodies or brains. My consciousness is not my consciousness is not limited to my human brain. It's multidimensional. That's what I'm doing when I do my readings here, or specific points. A mind that is non-local is unbounded in space and time and cannot be separated from other minds, but must be united with all other minds. Unbounded minds would therefore form what is called one mind. I believe universal one mind is what's happening. Okay, people don't die. The secret of death is no one doesn't survive their death. Did I do this? Thank you. Yeah, we got off to a little weird start there. I got my cards here. So what we're going to talk now, and then and maybe if I do a second hour, depending how I feel in an hour, we might get into non-locality, or we'll do that more next time, because I really want to explain how scientists, like in medical school, they teach people don't stay away from ESP and stuff like that. It'll ruin your career. You'll be labeled. All that stuff. Okay, civil disobedience becomes a sacred duty when state becomes lawless or corrupt. Civil disobedience, I think one of our forefathers said that. Plan to save democracy in America. End gerrymandering. That's the whole district. That's been going on since this country was founded. Overturn Citizens United. Abolish electoral college, paper ballots, same-day voters registration, and then he says open primaries. I believe we need to educate America again. This is the dumbing down of America that George Bush and Donald and Cheney. True enlightenment is nothing but the nature of one's own self being fully realized. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so this is what we're going to talk about today, and then I'm going to look at the clock there, and we'll do a reading. We'll do some cards before it's over. Here's once again, Psychic Frank's Mystery School is my YouTube channel, and then. If you want to send me any messages, it's psychicfrank11@gmail.com if you want to get a hold of me. Okay, so this is a book. It's called Healing Resistance, Kazu Haga, Haga. Deep, nuanced, and principled commitment to nonviolence has channeled and inspired me and many others. A radical different response to harm. My Life and Training in the November Nonviolent Legacy of Dr. King, forwarded by Bernard Lafayette Jr. and David C. Jensen, Gehnsen. And I had to buy a copy of this. It came out in 2020. And the lasting memory of Dr. Forward. This forward goes on. It says introduction. It says when I discovered Kingian nonviolence, Dr. Martin Luther King, Kingian nonviolence, conflict reconciliation, a training curriculum that grew out of the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. A simple 2-day introductory workshop I took when I was 27 years old changed my life forever. By that point, I had spent 10 years of my life on work dedicated to social justice. Even with my experience, I realized that weekend that I knew nothing about who Dr. King, what he stood for, or what it meant by nonviolence, quote unquote. Actually, I take that back. I had a sense always known. Remember, he goes on, in every core of my being, I just didn't have the language to articulate it. And he talks about 50 years after his assassination, Dr. King taught me that a commitment to nonviolence is a commitment to restoring relationships and building beloved community, a world where conflict surfaces as an opportunity to deepen in relationships, a world where all people understand our interconnectedness. That's what Buddhism is all about. I was wearing my Buddhist shirt with this symbol of Buddhism. It's that connected lines there. Yeah, we're all interconnected in our interconnected world. We stated that the Kingian nonviolence, Buddhism isn't a religion, it's a philosophy. And in one word, it's a philosophy meaning kindness. That's what Tibetan Buddhism is. I know for that. There's a lot of things people call them Buddhists, and they're like too fundamental. I just don't go for that. But I know I actually studied. I know many Tibetan Buddhists over my life, and I have great. They're psychics. It's a psychic religion, if you ask me. I said religion. It's a philosophy, but their reality is non-local, to say the least. Multi-generationship. They have psychic deities. They embraced me when I was shunned by the Western world, and I have a special part of my heart for all. I got fortunate over the 80s to meet a few of these guys that were teenage, young boys when the monastery was savaged in the 50s by the thousands by Chinese military, and they were whisked off by the elders to India, and now they were like somewhere between 100 and death when I met them, and they had translators with them. But just being with them, I got a shanti put. It's this. It's just like, wow, these cats know something, In a world where conflict surfaces an opportunity to deepen a relationship, all people have achieved their full human potential. Nonviolence as an ethical choice stems from a deep understanding about the impact that violence has on all people, those who experience it, those who perpetuate it, and those who witness it. It is about acknowledging that violence itself is the enemy that we need to defeat, not the people who are caught up in its cycle. Then he goes, undying commitment to healing ourselves. It is about the commitment here. Well, this is just the introduction. So let's get past the introduction to this amazing stuff. So I had to buy a copy of this because I have to underline and paste little things on there, So because this is how I do it. This is how I do it. Even in the pre-Black Lives Matter period, before the proliferation of mobile devices, police shootings in Oakland were unheard of. I didn't realize then how, he goes on and on. He talks about Oscar Grant, that's on page 19, if you want to get this book and get right to that. He said at that point, there was talk about Tashika jumped on all of the call. Did you see the video? His name is Dr. Grant, a 22-year-old African-American father who had been out celebrating a New Year's Eve with his friends in San Francisco. On their way home, there was an altercation at the BART train. The police were called. The train reached the Fruitvale station. BART police pulled Grant and his friends off the train, sat him down at the station platform. Future investigations showed that the BART police were poorly trained, did not trigger-happy policemen, did not follow their own procedures, and contributed to escalating situation. Chaos ensued. Everyone was yelling, including the police, who were screaming out commands along with racial epithets. Grant found himself being held on the ground by an officer. At that point, BART's police officer Johann Miserly, himself only 26 years old, and a recent father, stood over Grant and shot him in the back. Grant died in the hospital hours later. Gruesome as it was not more terrifying than the untold number of police killings of unarmed black men that happens frequently in the United States. God bless you, everybody who knew and loved Oscar Grant. And he says here, King's final orders was, Bernard, next movement that we need is to start a movement to institutionalize and internationalize nonviolence. This was at the hotel. He actually said to Lafayette, his friend who was there with him, to institutionalize and internationalize nonviolence as the final marching orders he received from Dr. King. It was his last request. Dr. King made one of the most senior organizers one of his most senior organizers that has been his life's mission from that moment on. Okay, now this is where it gets really good. It takes consistent training for something to become a muscle. So he talks about what they're training in these seminars. Buddha passed on the teachings of threefold training. He taught that once we are grounded in morality, then we can use meditation to sharpen our concentration. Through our concentration, we can gain wisdom into the true nature of reality. When the moral and ethical foundations are removed, meditation can become a shallow version of itself. To some extent, it is already happening in the West, with the mindfulness of industry turning into what some people call the McMindfulness. Without being grounded in ethics, we could learn to concentrate on our greed, our ego, and other unhealthy aspects of our lives. McMindfulness practices samadhi without sala, without the practice of concentration, without moralities, is unlikely to result in true enlightenment. Although when McMindfulness, we only gain partial insights, which could ultimately be nothing but an illusion. McMindfulness isn't bad per se. Any practice that reduces stress ultimately can be beneficial, but it would not be, this whole enlightenment thing, when you sit for that, then we got over here what he says. Nonviolence is not about what not to do. It's about what you are going to do about the violence and injustice we see in our own hearts, our homes, our neighborhoods, our society at large. It's about taking a proactive stand against violence and injustice. Nonviolence is about action, not inaction. On February 3rd, 1956, after a court battle that lasted almost 3 years, a woman named Autherine, Autherine, Lucy, became the first black student to attend classes at the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Within days of her arrival, riots broke out on campus. Yeah, I was a kid then. I was born in 48, 49, 50. So I was 10, 15. Yeah. People threw stones at the university president's home. Crosses were burned. A mob of more than 1,000 people surrounded the car she was traveling in, and rioters climbed on top of it and began jumping on it up and down. In response to this violence, the University of Alabama suspended and ultimately expelled Lucy from campus. They claimed that her presence was causing a threat to the safety of the school. That following day, because Lucy was no longer allowed on campus, the riot stopped. The local newspaper ran a headline that read, quote unquote, "Things are quiet in Tuscaloosa today. There is peace on the campus of the University of Alabama." There is peace, but what kind of peace was the paper talking about? Peace for whom and at what cost? On March 18th, just 1 month later, Dr. King gave a sermon response to this incident titled "When Peace Becomes Obnoxious." So this is, maybe you don't know this about Dr. King. In the sermon, Dr. King said that that the peace the newspaper described was not a real peace. He said that this peace, quote unquote, the type of peace that all men of goodwill hate, it is the type of peace that is obnoxious. It is the peace that stinks in the nostrils of the Almighty God. It is the peace that stinks in the nostrils of the Almighty God, quote unquote. Strong words from the man who would go on to win the Nobel Peace Prize. When Dr. King spoke of a peace boiled down to stagnant complacency, quote unquote, and a quote unquote deadening passivity. On a few shows again I did for my apartment, I talked about this is no time to be blasé. You know that song, baby, you're blasé, you're deep as a chasm with no enthusiasm. Baby, you're blasé. Well, here he's talking about negative peace, deadening passivity. He was talking about that what peace educator Johann Gartog calls negative peace, a peace that describes the absence of tension that comes at the expense of justice. Dr. King went on to say that, quote unquote, peace is not merely the absence of tension, but the presence of justice. Oftentimes in our society, we think of peace that calms, quiet, and serene. That is as peace as quiet, calm, and serene. We conjure up images of watching the sunset on a tropical beach, meditating in the forest by a creek, incense-scented candles, and kumbaya around the campfire. That can be as problematic as thinking that nonviolence is about not being violent. I'll say that again. That can be as problematic as thinking that nonviolence is about not being violent. I guarantee you that the moment after the atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima in 1945, things were really quiet. So did we create peace? If someone is screaming in my face and I stopped it by knocking them unconscious, did I just create peace? As ridiculous as that sounds, this is how our society tries to create peace, because we have such a gross misunderstanding of the concept. This misunderstanding is what allows us to justify going to war to create peace. If we just kill all the terrorists, we'll have peace. Winning a war means killing as many of quote unquote them as it takes to give them in, for them to give in. Kill as many of them as it takes for them to give in and sign a peace treaty, negative peace. This misunderstanding justifies the militarization of police. If we just lock up the protesters, and if I get a second hour today or next time I'm here, I want to talk about the psychosis of white men, where it explains how Nixon and Ronald Reagan, started the whole war on drugs. Oh yeah, we got a lot of good stuff to do. Okay, so as I said, I don't know if we're going to do both today, but at least we're halfway through this 1 hour here. This misunderstanding justifies, Dr. King acknowledged that if black people simply accepted second-class citizenship, then the stress wouldn't be less tense because the protests wouldn't be happening. Negative peace, it justifies mass incarceration. If we just lock up all the bad people, we'll have peace in our neighborhood. Negative peace. Back in 2011, the city attorney of Oakland was pushing for a gang injunctions, a controversial civil order that would give more power to the police to harass and arrest suspected gang members, code for young men of color. Suspected gang members, code for, quote unquote, there's a lot of code words going on. For young men of color. I remember saying to the city council at that time, if all we wanted was to decrease violence at all costs, there's a strategy that's guaranteed to work. Lock up every single young person in Oakland, which would dramatically decrease the violence in our city. But if we want to create peace, it requires a whole different strategy. That requires an investment in the city's youth. Negative peace is prevalent in many of our relationships and homes. He goes on and on. And for the lack of time here, he goes, nonviolence is a way of life for courageous people. For the workshop participates his incarcerated years. And he talks about a young man in prison who explains, as a young boy, I was sensitive, empathetic, and loving. However, through virtually all the agencies of socialization, that covers a lot. However, through virtually all the agencies of socialization, I was taught that my behavior was not in line with the rules of who I was supposed to be as a man. I was supposed to be tough, strong, violent, or at least convince people that I was willing to be. I learned that the rules also informed me of who I was not supposed to be: sensitive, vulnerable, honest about my emotions. Me. And I've been this way from the gate, and I got the broken rib scars to prove it. As a consequence of accepting the indoctrination of the ideology of toxic masculinity, I became drawn to big, strong, powerful, and violent role models. Mike Tyson, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Tony Montana from Scarface were the people I wanted to emulate. He goes on and on. He goes, courage showed me how to open up and talk about the things I'm most ashamed of, being vulnerable, speaking about our true emotions. So this kid's talking about this in prison. Yeah, showing all of who we are is what takes most courage. Yeah, it says, courage showed me how to open up and talk about the things I'm most ashamed of. Being vulnerable, speaking about our true emotions, being vulnerable and showing all of my heart, showing all of who we are is what takes the most courage. I'm my most authentic self when I'm speaking my mind and revealing my heart. Courage showed me how to open up inside. I share things. He's in therapy there, and but I feel most alive in these groups. I'm my most authentic self. Courage is about speaking truth. Dr. King died for it. I just hope I can live for it. If the price of death, at least I'll know I died for truth, for I know I'll just live for it. I'll just live for it. Right now, I'm fighting a good fight of nonviolence in the middle of a gang war in prison. The fear of the unknown is real, and so is my commitment to love. People were left in tears. Yeah, so this guy touched a lot of hearts with that. And then what we have here, this is save the best for the last. He goes, I hate sin. I hate the sin, not the sinner. Hard on problems, soft on people. Don't hate the player, hate the game. There are many different ways to articulate this principle, but they all speak to the same core principle in nonviolence. People are never the enemy. Injustices. People are never the enemy. Injustices. In every idea, at the very with the new Trump administration, the private prison stocks are through the roof now. Oh, there's going to be a whole lot of misery going on. Hurt people, but heal people. There goes. The civil rights movement was this is beautiful. Okay, listen up, The civil rights movement was a battle for the bodies of black folks and the souls of white folks, quote unquote. The civil rights movement is a battle for, I think it's still going on. We need movements. We got to get this movement off the ground now. I read one. The civil rights movement was a battle for the bodies of black folks and the souls of white folks. This was an acknowledgement that being a white supremacist destroys your soul. It is not healthy to have so much hatred in your heart, to believe in what Dr. King called, quote unquote, a false sense of superiority, quote unquote, or to believe that you are somehow separate from the interconnected web of humanity. Being on the receiving end of violence and oppression causes pain, but being on the giving end of violence and oppression results in internal pain of the spirit. It sometimes feels to me like the difference between being an oppressor and being the oppressed, being the perpetrator of crime versus being the victim, is really a matter of degree and perspective. Violence is a disease that hurts everyone, and nonviolence acts as its medicine. And then it says right here, finally, Paul pointed out that not a single person has ever been traumatized by an act of compassion. Maybe this is enough evidence that it's the thing that fulfills our potential as human beings. Love, community, understanding, and relationships that compromise our core nature as a species. Evidence that we are already on a path away from violence is out there. In this book, Better Angels of Our Nature, author Steven Pinker documents the nature of media narratives, and our culture of fear of violence has been in a steady decline over the history of our species. If we are already evolving without having made a conscious decision as a species, imagine if we made it intentional. What if we held nonviolence as a value and we educated ourselves about it? What if we decided that it's not only possible, but it is destiny to evolve beyond violence? What if we all chose beloved community be our North Star and begin walking in that direction? What did Abraham Lincoln said? Stay your ground, and then I wrote it down here. It's so beautiful. Be sure you put your feet in the right place and stand firm. Okay, make sure you put your feet in the right place and stay firm. Beginning November 25th, Mercury retrograde for 3 weeks in Sag will be. Sag is pretty optimistic, and it's fire, it's yang, fire creativity, yeah. So, and then it says, whether or not we'll end oppression, overcome violence, or reconcile all conflict is not the point. The point is to always be walking in the direction of freedom. I once saw a documentary about the people of Megha and Meghalaya, something, Alala, a state in northern India, one of the rainiest places on earth. The rivers, and this is cool, in the forest flood each monsoon season. Hundreds of years ago, the people who live in these forests created an ingenious way to cross these rivers year-round. They wove together the roots of rubber trees when they were still saplings, young enough to be malleable. They would weave them together into living bridges that spanned from one side of the river to the other. The challenge was that they had to wait for growth to happen. They had to wait for the roots to grow from one side of the riverbank to the other and became strong enough to support the weight of the people crossing them. This could take years, even generations. In one sense, the old man was teaching his young niece how to tend to these bridges. He explained to her that he may never walk on this bridge, but her children and her children's children will walk on this bridge, just as he walked on the bridges built by his ancestors. This had become a powerful analogy for how we look at the work of social change and how work is building beloved communities. It is the work of generations, not elected cycles, grant periods, election cycle grant periods, or 5-year strategic plans. We don't need to be weighed down with the expectations of single-handedly changing everything, because we are not alone. We have the wisdom of our ancestors and the lives yet to be lived by our descendants. Our work is simply to learn from our elders, tend to our portion of the bridge, and pass on the knowledge to the next generation. Our work is to bridge our ancestors with our descendants, meet intergenerational trauma with integrational wisdom, and heal the trauma and transform it into resiliency that will pass on to our children so that they can cross a wider and wider divides. Maybe we'll never get there. Maybe we'll never fully evolve away from violence, but it's still a direction I want to walk in, and who knows, with wisdom and of our ancestors and the lives yet to be lived by our descendants, we may someday, our children's children will reach the other side of that river. Yeah, beautiful stuff. He talks about, we are taught that once we are grounded in mortality, as I said, we taught to, well, that's enough. Okay, we'll probably get back to this, but it's called Healing Resistance Hazuhaga. Uh, and okay, we got a good some time left. Well, the secret of death is no one dies. And the universe recycles everything. NASA wants to scare us with black. In a few billion years, we're going to end up in a black hole. Be here now, man. No, black holes are everything in the universe is blessed. They're recycled. Everything's recycled. Human beings are recycled. And I'll give you, this has been going on since 2016 when I first saw Stephen Miller. And I said, but now my guides told me, no, this isn't being catty or divisiveness or anything. He is a reincarnated Nazi, Third Reich. He's anybody. He comes right out and he's proud as punch. Cruelty is the point. Putting Jews in concentration camps, that was cruel, and that was the whole point. He's definitely a Nazi, and now they're so you can't kill him. The Nuremberg trials. There's nobody doesn't survive their death, and if you're really, really evil, like the universe will put you in a cocoon, and when they need you, because there's multi-universe. We're just in this one little finger of the Milky Way, we're just like this little dot. There's this picture from one of these Hubble NASA things that's on its way out of space somewhere. Oh yeah, they're finding out that at the edge of our universe is inhabitable, and the noise, there's this hum that would drive you insane, and it's just we're as far out of space as we're ever going to get. See, Saturn right now retrograde is the last visible planet with the telescope. Everything beyond Saturn now are invisible, and that's what's happening now. We have to see beyond what's going on. The entire universe is 99.99% plasma, and yet NASA's they don't understand plasma. Space is an element. It's where everything comes from. That's why Einstein's guys called it spooky when the quantum, the smallest particles of anything. They would spooky how it seemed like one mind was, they didn't call it one mind was, and it freaked them out. So when you know what's going on and you continue to rip the economy that money could be spent to feed and clothe and stop the misery, and you don't do that, there's a that's especially evil. Let me pick a few cards for you all because I think we might be running out of time here. I this whole thing about you've got to get things done. I still say that. It's a habit I learned from high school and even before that. Yeah. And stop it. I always see him, like the other day I talked to friends of mine in another country, and they were talking about how they got to get this done. I said, stop that. And you're missing the whole thing about why things are happening for you to do. Get it? Okay. Dr. Miles Davis said, time isn't the main thing, it's the only thing. Groucho Marx said, time flies like an arrow, fruit flies like a banana. You gotta laugh, man. You gotta laugh. Donald Trump now is taking this injection you have now to lose all the weight. Oprah, everybody's doing it. All these overweight people now are all slim and trim now. So Donald Trump's doing it now, but he's got a vagina neck now, a really pronounced. So every time you see him now, you'll be seeing his vagina. I mean, it's huge. His neck vagina. It's that's going to make me laugh a lot. You gotta get a sense of humor. The universe is it's a cosmic joke. Get in on it, man. It's not funny though that remember the kids in cages. They got the Ice Agent now, who's he's Oh, Lord have mercy. God have mercy on his soul. The afternoon, what the morning never suspected. So expect a miracle. Miracles happen. Human consciousness is non-local. It's not confined to a specific point in space, such as brains and bodies or specific moments. Tune in to non-locality. Entanglement disturbingly requires two separate particles to remain connected without being in direct contact. Einstein famously called entanglement spooky action at a distance. He said since the particles seem to be communicating faster than the speed of light. And he said they needed to, the scientists back then in the 30s, to verify the variables required to communicating, morality, humility. Even when you say I lead a humble life, you're not humble. If you say anything implying humility, you even say that word, you don't have it. Humility is what I strive for. The other day I received from the other side a person who passed on, a good friend of mine, and she's Kathy Acker. I might as well say, I'm in the book Jason McBride wrote about her, and she said she's out of the cocoon now and she's living. She's living. She's living her eternal existence, and she said, "Wow, you got a lot of, you're like a star over here." And that, even repeating that, it humbles me. But yeah, I lost count of how many hundreds of people. I was the last face they saw when they left this planet. They looked up at me. I saw their spirits fly out over the crowd like a vapor. This was during the AIDS epidemic. I was doing healings. But see, Western medicine doesn't believe in hope. They think it's cruel. I'm going to pick 6 cards for you all, and I believe we're going to call it a day for this section of it. And I think I'm kind of beat. I'm going to pass on the second hour, and then maybe on another day I'll take a rain check on that. So this is how we're collectively feeling about ourselves. This is what we collectively all want. This is what we're fearing. This is what is going on for us. This is what's going on against us, and this is the final outcome. Okay. Well, I missed Gabby, but I must admit, without Gabby upstaging me, she means well, but I gave her a kiss. So I know a lot of kids love Gabby Hayes, my parrot, but she's fine. As a matter of fact, maybe one of these days I'll around the holidays I'll do a little video, a little 5-minute video, so you can all see Gabby again. She's adorable and I love her. She's a lovebird, and I'm the object of her love. Okay, so this is what we're growing up now. It's time we realize we're not children of God, we're adults, man. We're adults of God. Put on our big boy pants and big girl pants and be adults now. This is happening for us, not to us. What do they say? Never disappoint a child or an alcoholic. I am not a child. I am not an alcoholic. There's a gift in here. I'm going to find it. Okay, we're just about ready to go. Right now we're moving into a whole mental paradigm. Beliefs are just thoughts you keep on thinking, and thoughts can be changed. Think about that. Beliefs are just thoughts you keep on thinking, and thoughts can be changed. What we're fearing now is the money. It's all about getting established with money. Somehow the belief that money buys happiness. What do they say? Money's like a poop sandwich. The more bread you have, the less poop you have to taste. I know people who've had that as their mantra, and they actually are pooping through a colostomy bag on the side of their stomachs. So how's that working for you? Money is an innocent thing. It's our consciousness beyond it. Money applied. Louise Hay used to say, I was standing 10 feet away from her once at Fort Mason, and she said, money is the easiest thing in the world to manifest. And then she waited for a reaction, and she says, does that statement anger you? Good. Now you have a place to start. Okay, so us, what we're hoping for, what we're fearing, what's going on for us, what's going on against us is not accepting God's love. Kindred spirits giving us thing. Believe me, your souls on the other side are not happy you're suffering. Ask the angels for help. I don't know if the word is appropriate for them. They're ascended masters, but there's so many unemployed angels now. What do you got to lose? And don't forget, when you're doing your affirmations, 1 or 2 affirmations ain't going to do it. I mean, it's better than nothing. But when you realize you're being bombarded by information, just turning on a TV, walking down any street, listening to signs, billboards, and when you're implanting a new thought pattern into your thoughts, 500 times is not too many times to repeat, like, this is happening for me, not to me. I know what's in me to cure this. Yeah, we got a lot of power in the money we have now. It's not about the amount of money, it's how you use your money. What are you feeding? What are you doing to bring back the mom and pop stores? What are you doing to the monopolies, the 1%? Well, open up to your guides, and your guides will lead you to what you need to, where you need to go to. Okay, well, I think this is about it. I think, oh yeah, I wanted to just point at Donald Trump's chart. All this Leo action is happening in Donald Trump's 12th house, where you bury and hide things. And Mars is going to blow them out. Especially right now, Mars is going back and forth over, actually by next year, by the beginning of this year, Pluto will be conjuncting Pluto, or Donald Trump's Pluto. Oh yeah. I have pity for the man. I think by then he'll probably be an institution in President Vance. Who knows what's going to happen? But he was born with Mars in Leo, in the borough of Queens at 10:45. Yeah. He's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, he's in a 1 year, just like the United States of America. That's interesting, huh? And then Musk, Sun in the 12th house, Venus, 1923, 12th house cusp. 1923. His Venus is right on the cusp. I've never seen that, of 12th house, where you hide things and you're placed in the community. Oh yeah, and Saturn and Gemini in the 11th house, opposite Neptune. Oh, he can really he's a flim-flam man, He's just in it for the kicks and giggles, That's what rich people do. Okay, my friends, I'll be back in 2 weeks. My new schedule is the 1st and the 3rd Friday, 3 o'clock. I'll be taping a 1-hour show, and then it'll be on Saturday night at 7:30, Channel 29, SF Commons, and hopefully they'll teach me how to I'll learn how to get it uploaded to my YouTube channel. Okay, well, we're done. Namaste. Thank you.